drama brewing out there in Scottsdale. Did Coach Kliff Kingsbury, deserve a contract extension?
Absolutely. Just pathing his trajectory and his improvement, certainly you need to reward what Kliff has done in the desert. 500 coach in totality, but improvement every single year. 5 wins, 8 wins, 11 wins. And I remember yesterday you were talking about Kyler Murray and saying, hey, Kyler Murray, don't hide behind 11 wins because you didn't play in all those games and all those wins, correct? Yes, sir. Well, Kliff did coach him. He coached all of them, damn it. Say what you want. It's hard to go on IR as a head coach. Let's just say that, but I've seen that too. Let's talk about their offense that was ranked 21st. And then all of a sudden, 6th and 8th. He's starting to put his fingerprints on this team exactly where they want him. You got to look at how this is starting to progress. To the tune of this year, after week 7, his team was undefeated with a healthy quarterback. And we were like, yo, where did Arizona come from? We knew they were a scrappy bunch. You know, they would scrape up their elbows in any contest. Even if they lose, you know you've been in a fight. But they seemed like they were over the hump. And then an injury to their franchise quarterback derailed them. But besides that, you look at this team and you have to sum up that this is a team not only that is continuously improving, but let's be real, it's a contender. This is a team that you got to watch out for going forward, and it's because of a lot of the work of Kliff Kingsbury. So, yeah, hell yeah, he deserved that money.
Oh, this is tough. Kliff did not deserve an extension before Kyler Murray. And I'm not even sure Kyler Murray deserved an extension here in the next few months. Y'all got to understand this.
Let's go.
How can you give Kliff Kingsbury a contract extension when he is not the first, second, third, but 4th best coach within his division of 4 coaches? Sean McVay, the best coach. You could argue Pete Carroll. If you don't want to go with Pete Carroll, go with Kyle Shanahan as the 2nd best coach. Right. Then go Pete Carroll as the 3rd best coach, or Pete Carroll as the 2nd best coach. And then at the very bottom of the NFC West, you find yourself with Kliff Kingsbury, and you are going to tether yourself to the 4th best coach out of 4 coaches in the division. It makes no sense to me, Marcellus Wiley.
Yes, sir, sir.
So if we're talking about the right here, right now, Kliff Kingsbury is the worst head coach in his division of 4 coaches. But let's not talk about right here, right now. Let's assess these coaches through the first 3 years of their careers or the first 4 years of their careers. Because Sean McVay, in his 3rd season as a head coach with the Rams, he was in a Super Bowl. Pete Carroll in his 4th season as a head coach for the Seahawks. He won a Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan in his 3rd season as a head coach for the Niners. He was in the Super Bowl. But Kliff Kingsbury, through his 3 seasons, no playoff wins. Somebody got to make it make sense, y'all. Don't tell me, well, Kliff Kingsbury went to the worst organization. Keep in mind, Jared Goff was 0-7 as a starter before Sean McVay showed up. And within 2 seasons under Sean McVay's tutelage, Jared Goff was leading the Rams to a Super Bowl. I have a hard time paying somebody, extending somebody, when they are the worst at what they do compared to their immediate contemporaries. I have a hard time paying him. So it just makes no sense to me that you would tether yourself to Kliff Kingsbury for another 5 years when he is the worst at what he does relative to the immediate opponents around him in Carroll, Shanahan, and McVay.
It's crazy that you have that perspective, even though...
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. What it is the sequence of logic throws people off. Okay. You're 4th in your division, so there's a natural assumption when there are 4 divisions that he's going to be somewhere in the high teens in terms of overall coaching ability, and that's not true.
Not at all.
What it is he's 4th in his division, but then he's 7th in the conference, right? Because his team made the playoffs. And you got to start to respect that, the Ravens were 4th in their division last year. Would you bet on the Ravens going forward? I would. The 49ers were 3rd in their division last year. Would you bet on the 49ers? I would. So I think it's just a logical sequence that is accurate, kind of like when you see somebody in the finals of the Olympics and they get 4th place. Somebody like, damn, no medal for you, 4th place? I mean, what worse position to get in track and field than 4th place, right? But then I'm going to say, well, you know, there were 9 people in that race, and then let's go to the semis, and there was like 4 heats, and then there was he's better than most.
Correct.
And if you look at this, not only better than most is introducing me to a conversation of an extension, But what takes us deeper is you're improving every single year. Now, if we had the roller coaster effect, I'm with you, big dog, but Kliff Kingsbury is doing nothing but this. And when you find a talent like that, oh, I don't know, let's use that as a player. Josh Allen. When Josh Allen was doing this, you bet on Josh Allen. What did? They paid him. Now, it's funny you say Kliff shouldn't get his money before Kyler. Well, Kyler shouldn't get his money before Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson ain't got his money yet. You need to call Mama. Mama, I know you're an agent too, but you better get on the job. So the point is, I'm not concerned who they paid first. They paid the GM, they paid the coach. They're going to pay Kyler. But you can't exclude Kliff from what he's done in terms of making this team better. Remember what Arizona was before him. And now, judge a man by the distance traveled. What is Arizona right now? You're going to give all that to Kyler Murray?
No, sir.
You can't, because there are some statistics that show that Kyler Murray this year was the same dude he was 2 years ago. QBR, et cetera. So the point is, Kyler Murray, I think he's improved, but there are some stats that say he hasn't. No stat shows that Kliff Kingsbury hasn't improved. Every single one, offensive production, wins, he's done nothing but go up.
I'm not concerned with Kliff Kingsbury. Very hard name to say.
I hate his last name.
Very hard.
I'm going to just call him Kliff.
I'm not concerned with Kliff's improvement. Yeah. I'm concerned with Kliff's improvement relative to everybody else.
To who? To
all the other coaches, the young coaches right now.
Like what?
Matt LaFleur. He came in and he gave you 3 consecutive 13-win seasons. Here's what I hate about improvement.
To what result?
Sure. But what I hate about improvement is improvement implies you were sorry.
No, it doesn't.
What's the stat that we all bragged about with Matthew Stafford? Matthew Stafford has the most come-from-behind victories in NFL history. Why are you always behind? If you weren't trailing, you wouldn't have to come from behind. Kliff Kingsbury, he has improved each and every year. Well, get so good where you ain't got to improve. Wow. Matt LaFleur showed up, took over for your coach, Mike McCarthy, and Matt LaFleur instantly won 13 games. Then he instantly won 13 again. Then he instantly won 13 again. We ain't got to talk about Matt LaFleur's improvement.
He needed to improve, though.
He showed up, he got improved in the playoffs, but he showed up and instantly got to winning. Okay. Oh, well, Kliff went to a terrible organization. So did Kevin Stefanski. And Stefanski had a worse coach, worse organization
anymore.
He had a worse quarterback, but at least he instantly won a playoff game. I don't want to hear about Kliff Kingsbury's rag to riches story. You got everything.
No, he doesn't.
He did. He showed up and they instantly said, hey, the first-round pick we drafted at quarterback, you can get rid of him, Kliff. Draft whoever you want. Kliff said, oh, bet. I'll draft a quarterback I've known since he was 15 years of age, being a quarterback at Allen High School in Allen, Texas, right outside of Dallas. Kliff Kingsbury knew of him because Kliff Kingsbury was in Lubbock, 6 hours from Dallas. So Kliff Kingsbury got to hand-pick the quarterback he wanted. Hey, in addition to that, Kliff, we're going to give you a Hall of Fame wide receiver in his prime. Really? Me? Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins. Hey, in addition to that, Kliff, we're going to give you one of the best defensive players of this generation. Oh, I'll get J.J. Watt, too?
There ain't no wattage left. Those votes.
But I'm going to get a J.J. Watt, too.
Ain't no watts
In
left.
addition to that, Kliff, we're going to expend resources drafting even more receivers. Oh, Rondale Moore? For me?
Who?
Yeah. Rondale Moore beast.
I know he is, but that name ain't
we're going to give you an A.J. Green, too.
Who?
Like,
A.J. Green.
You're going to stop.
A.J. Brown.
You're going to stop hooing these Hall of Famers. You are going to stop
when they're in the Hall of Fame, I'm going to clap again.
Hall of Famers.
When last time you clapped for A.J. Green on the field? He didn't even look around with a pass and lost the first game for him. I'm not doing this.
You out here hooing 10,000-yard receivers and 100-sack defensive linemen. That's who you hooing?
I'm hooing right now. I'm not hooing who they are.
You need a hooting who. All I'm saying is this, man. Kliff Kingsbury has been hand-given a bunch of greats.
Hand-gifted? You were gifted a 3-win franchise. 3 wins. 3. Oh, Lord. And they didn't say, oh, well, we'll let you do whatever you want. Get rid of Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen got rid of himself. 1, through this. Shut up. You ain't good enough to be talking like that. And then 2, you see him practice? You see him play? Never mind. He got to go. So don't act like Kliff Kingsbury came in there, hey, I want what I want. They were like, nah, you get rid of Rosen all you want because he ain't going to help you. Trust me. 3 wins. I'm being real. See, Heller and I were talking about this on the call. See, you didn't play in my era. See, my era was before social media. Okay. So we had very few media outlets. You had to watch like Inside the NFL when they had the boom mics or, you know. Other than that, nobody knew what we were saying. So we would say everything. Like trash talking was like the currency. And now you can't say this stuff. You got to be PC because you're going to see them at an Elite 11 camp. Shut up. Keep it 1,000 while on this show. Let me tell you this. This is what they did to Kliff Kingsbury. they gave him one stick and said, make some fire. And he like, make fire? What other stick? They're like, I can rub 2 sticks together. Like, no, you got one. So guess what he had to do? Break it in half. Oh, visualize. And now he got less, but he can make this thing work. 3 wins. Let me get to 5. Let me get to 8. Boom, 11. Oh, look at that. And then here go Kyler Murray with his hurt ass. Blow the fire. But next year, you gotta respect what's gonna happen, man, because they starting on fire.
Here's the biggest question, though, Sel.
What?
You don't pay a coach or extend a coach to be better than most. You extend a coach to be the best. I love your Josh Allen example. Josh Allen is doing this. Woo. But here is a pivotal difference. I hope you all understand, and me and Sel need to understand it. The reason we can tell how drastically Josh Allen is ascending, because he's ascending at a greater rate than everybody else. Yeah. We talk about this all the time, and if you didn't know, allow me and Marcellus to enlighten you onto this, which we both realize. In track and field, in that 100-meter dash, the most prolific race in all of track and field, the last 30 minutes, the runners are all slowing down. The last 30 meters, thank you. The last 30 meters of the race, the runners are all slowing down.
Yeah.
Nobody's speeding up. Mind-blowing to me. What do you mean they're slowing down?
Can't run 70-something meters.
They're all slowing down. The difference is who is slowing down at a lesser rate than everybody else. Everybody's slowing down. So when I talk about who's getting better, it's who's getting better at a greater rate than everybody else. When I look at Kliff Kingsbury, I don't care that he's getting better. It's irrelevant that he's getting better because the only thing that matters is he getting better at a greater rate than these other coaches are getting better?
I don't know.
Because Sean McVay's getting better too.
Well, they didn't
and he's getting better at a greater rate.
Well,
don't tell me they didn't start at the same place. Don't you tell me that.
You already know.
Don't you tell me that.
Because you know.
0-7, Jared Goff.
Making that argument, well, 0-7 without you. 0-7, Jeff Fisher inherited 0-7, and it wasn't 0-7. It 1-7 as soon as he got with Sean McVay. Let's start there. Here's the thing. I love that when we talk about track and field at the end, they just all slowing down. Who's slowing down the slowest?
Exactly.
It's like, we're really sorry.
Yes, sir.
Acho, this is how you got to raise your kids. So the way you raise your kids, you got to keep that perspective for life and issues like
this. Talk to me.
Don't compare, prepare, right?
Yes, sir.
And what that really means when you start to just take the layers off is compare yourself to yesterday's versions of yourself. Okay. Not today's version of someone else. You know why? Because you know why? Let's be real. If you compare
is that a Marcellus original?
Well, I stole it. They're all 23% of mine are from someone else. I'll take the credit for the rest. Let me be real. You know why you have to do that? Because let's be real. Growing up, I wasn't 5-star. I wasn't 4-star. So if I ever let myself leak into the perspective of, well, Stace Bozeman is doing this. Well, Obi Moore is doing it. Like, I would have been psyched out. That's what's happening to a lot of these kids. They look at these rankings. I'm 37th on the rankings. So there's 36 players better than me. No, they're not 36 players better than you. Are you today better than you were yesterday? If you stay focused on that grind, you will be the best version of yourself. Why do I bring that up? There was a day where I'm sure Kliff Kingsbury was looking at Kyle Shanahan like, damn, sucker. He in the Super Bowl already. Now you look at Kyle Shanahan, still respect and still a great coach, but he in the Super Bowl? No, taking a step back. You look at Sean McVay. He went to the Super Bowl and got clearly out-coached. Then all of a sudden he started to teeter around. You're like, oh, Sean McVay, look at a little suspect. Now look at him, pop. You can't ride somebody else's ride, bro. I think if you're Kliff Kingsbury, the best thing for organization to do is keep rewarding him like you do your kids when they do something right. 5, 8, 11? Oh, I got to reward you because I know the next step certainly may get us there.
I love everything you said in regards to everyday life, non-sports philosophy. I love that. Be better than the version of yourself yesterday. I love it. It's irrelevant in sports. Unfortunately, it is absolutely irrelevant. It's the most irrelevant thing someone could ever say in sports.
Talk to me.
Here's why.
What?
It does not matter that Emmanuel Acho, while in the NFL, could cover better tomorrow than he did yesterday, and could cover better the next tomorrow than he did yesterday, and the next tomorrow than he did yesterday, because I couldn't cover LaShawn McCoy.
Never?
And never. I could guess right, but I couldn't cover LaShawn McCoy. So it doesn't matter that I got better in coverage on Wednesday than Tuesday and Thursday than Wednesday and Friday than Thursday and Saturday than Friday and Sunday than Saturday. That's irrelevant. What matters was on Sunday, can I cover that man? And as long as I can't cover that man, it does not matter that I could cover better in September than I could in August and October than September. If I can't cover him, I can't cover him. So congratulations for being better than yourself, Emmanuel, but are you better than the opponent? Kliff Kingsbury, great. I'm glad you were better than this year.
11 wins?
11 is great.
Okay,
But you know what's terrible? 11 points. And he had 11 points in the playoff game when he got beat 34-11 by Sean McVay.
Who beat
so I do not care.
How did he lose?
He lost to Sean McVay. I don't care how, I care who.
Okay, I respect the who, but you can't pay Sean McVay if you're the Arizona Cardinals, so you got to pay your version, and your version is Kliff.
But isn't that the problem, though, Sal? It's like, why would you pay a lesser version of what's greater than you?
No, you know why you pay him?
Extending it.
You know why?
Yes.
DeAndre Hopkins didn't play. Kyler Murray was coming off injury and didn't look the same post-injury as he did pre-injury. So you can't put that on Kliff's shoulders. You got to say you did the best with what you could. You were undefeated when all things were healthy, and then all of a sudden we lost our two best players offensively, right?
Got something for you.
So there's okay. You don't pay someone who improves every single. See, I think you make the assumption that when you improve every single year, you must have started off sorry. That's what you make the assumption.
You have to some degree.
Okay. Well, T.J. Watt.
Exponential improvement.
His name is T.J. Wiley. Let me say it right. T.J. Wiley, my brother from another. I love you, bro. 7 sacks, 13, 14 and a half, 15, 22 and a half with a torn groin and missing 2 games. That's improvement every year. Now, I understand that's absurd highs as well, but you don't have to start off with a bad place like Kliff did. But Kliff did, and he's still making that type of improvement. You reward T.J. Wiley, you better reward Kliff.
I got 2 things for you. I have one issue and then I have one solution. My first issue, T.J. Watt is proven to be the best at what he does. Defensive Player of the Year this year. If Kliff Kingsbury was the best at what he does, then by all means, please pay him. But Kliff Kingsbury is the worst at what he does within his own division. And you want to extend him? My first problem. Second thing, let's personalize it. Sal, you was parking lot pimping, were you not, when you was in the league?
Coming up.
You was. Okay.
No, I was in the club with
If you are trying to win the parking lot contest, right, and everybody in the league.
Let's talk some.
Okay. So parking lot contest. You pull up to your facility in the parking lot. You pull up in, you pull up in a Bentley. I ain't do that. Pull up in the Benz. But then somebody else pulls up in a Bentley. Okay. Then somebody else puts up in a four-door Rolls. Then somebody else puts up in an exclusive Maybach. Then somebody else puts up in the exclusive powder blue Lambo. You realize if you are trying to win the parking lot contest, the Benz ain't gonna cut it. Because you already have the worst car out of everybody. Why would you renew your lease on the Mercedes-Benz if you know somebody got a Bentley, somebody got a Maybach, somebody got a Lambo, somebody got the Rolls? Why would you renew your lease? You wouldn't. What you would do is say, you know what? This Benz ain't gonna get it done. So while I love my Benz, I'm not going back to Mercedes and saying, you know what, let me extend my lease. I'm going to trade in the keys to the Benz and be like, hey, let me step up my game and get something else. What Marcellus, what they are doing with King Kliff and what you're trying to do is say, hey, I got something good. I got an S550. Can't lose with an S550. Problem, you can. It's some Maybachs out there. Kliff Kingsbury, it's some McVays out there. I'm just not going to extend if I know I'm already fighting a losing battle.
Okay, I got to tell the story first and then get to my point, which will counter what you just said. Oh, don't take me back to them days. Never bring up those days to a married man. I find that key in, open the cage. I'm back, baby, I'm back. Let me out with Acho tonight. Okay, this is when I realized all that parking lot stuff, you're doing the most. You're doing too much. First of all those cars you named except the Bentley I had, all at the same time, too. I was a fool with mine. Gave a brother from Compton some dough. So anyway, I remember going to this one club, and it was off of La Cienega. I forget the name because they keep changing the name every 2 years. Anyway, big club, you know, the one the songs Drake's on, I'm talking about, right? And I'm there, center stage. This is that dude time, right? And some dude from Miami, I don't know his name because I want to give him credit, some young receiver from Miami comes up to me, what's up, Marcellus? How you doing? Respect, man. Just want to say what's up to you, and, you know, let's have some fun tonight. And then he looked back around, you know, we could kick it after. So, oh, that's love, that's love. Get in line. Okay, yeah, I'm respecting him, no. And then the club is over, and I'm doing the most, right? Center valet, you know, extra 100, you know what I mean? My Rolls Royce, white, sitting there, all doors open, ain't nobody in the damn car. You know, I hear the music, violins playing, rose petals, I'm walking in, what's up? And then as soon as you get to your car and the doors open, the first thing you gotta do is act like, oh, I left something, or you gotta be hanging on the door, like, what's the next move? Okay. So I'm looking at Miami. Miami walking by, he's like, Marcellus, we gonna go to the spot to eat, come through. And I was like, okay. And then I watched who he was with. And I was like, okay, I'm coming through there. And then I saw who I was with. No slight, but he won. Guess what they got in? A cab. He ain't from here. He jumped in the cab winning more than me. And I realized then, oh, when this time's up, I'm getting rid of this car because I ain't have to do that much. I had to tell you that story. All right, now let me counter your point. According to Acho's philosophy, you shouldn't respect or extend ever a Zach Taylor. Oh, remember the coach that was going to get fired before this year? Wasn't always improving, but Zach Taylor, oh, now look at him. What about Bruce Arians, the coach that won the Super Bowl the year before? Remember Bruce Arians, 7 wins, 8 wins, 7 wins? It's not always this, right? And according to Acho's philosophy, you tell me, retort if you want, Bruce Arians, there was a day where you just couldn't bet on Bruce Arians going forward. And all of a sudden, bow, it all blossomed into exactly what you wanted. Wouldn't you have more confidence in someone who has not shown you that they will go down in the ebbs and flows? Kliff Kingsbury, with that fresh mansion that he had already on the first contract, now about to re-up on him, woo, get your money.